And welcome back, Gaming Geeks, to episode 3. And today's topic is simple, a Star Wars fan theory. And that is, what if the Rebel Alliance were unsuccessful in stealing the Death Star plans?
Would that lead to the end of the rebellion and an eternal empire reign?
And again, thanks for joining us, Gaming Geeks. I am your host, Matt.
And I'm Rick.
And again, today we want also ultimately your opinion, but we would like what you guys have to think and what you would have to say as well about what if the Rebel Alliance were unsuccessful in stealing the Death Star plans. I mean, seriously.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You tell me it doesn't just open up a constant flurry of just wondering what the hell they would do.
well, on the other side, it might make for the most boring storyline ever.
Very true. Very true. I don't know, man. Like, there's just so many different directions that this could go. I mean, it's like, you know, what do you? I mean, what happens to the rebellion ultimately? I mean, they're short-lived, extremely.
Yeah, because the Death Star gets completed. I mean, so what's going to happen with, are they going to even be able to destroy the Death Star?
Well, if you don't mind, bro, go over some of the things that you have that you know could at least cause some, what you think could be surface damage to the Death Star. You know what I mean?
Well,
because I know you had it written down. I mean, because every bit of my research on podcasts I've written down. But like, what are some of the things that, like, if the rebellion could even commandeer, could even?
yeah, I mean, first off, could they get on the Death Star and somehow commandeer that? I mean, from what we've seen of the
Unless
Death
they're
Star,
Galen Merrick.
because we know how hard it is to sneak onto the Death Star,
Right.
because the stormtroopers are always really on top of things.
Vader's on there. Now, don't get jittery, kid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, unless you're Galen Merrick, who we talked about in our last episode. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to think. I mean, like, first of all, you had Rogue One, which was the only Disney project worth a shite at all, and it had my boy Donnie Yen in it. But like, you hear Mon Mothma. She says in A New Hope, "Many Bothans died to bring us this information," and they did. I mean, so many people died. Like, if you've seen Rogue One, at the end of it, Darth Vader goes off like he's on crack. I mean, he's just. They're trying to get the Tantive, the slave, the Leia's ship, the slave ship. I was thinking is Boba Fett. Sorry about that. But anyway, and you see him, like, they're trying to get these Death Star plans past through this doorway, and Vader's just going ham on these people, man. You remember that?
Really?
Oh, it was brutal. I mean, they did something right. Disney did.
Yeah.
Maybe they took one of Lucas's ideas. I don't know.
Well, so one thing about Disney, and you're the Star Wars, you're the one that knows things, and so I throw things out there.
Yeah.
But like in one of the most recent movies, one of the characters takes their ship and puts it in hyperspace and destroys the ship with it. Now, my understanding is that's not supposed to be able to happen, but could you take a ship, put it in hyperspace right through the Death Star and destroy it with that?
No.
Well, Lucas would say no, but Disney seems to think that that's...
Well, yeah, but that was because Mickey Mouse was piloting and Donald Duck was like his co-pilot. I mean,
Do you remember the scene I was talking about?
vaguely, but it's so stupid.
When she's the only one, she sends everybody off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, no. I mean, anything going light speed at the Death Star is just gonna boom, just gonna blow up against the surface. I mean, it's not even gonna. If you're going that fast, I mean, you might do some exterior damage, but I would think it was minimal, something that size, don't you? Versus a ship and what it's structured and made up to hit at that speed. I mean, it would disintegrate.
I mean, that would be obviously the easiest way to do it if it's possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to commandeer something else, like Center Point Station, which is an ancient technology, could move stars,
Right.
could move planets.
And you also brought up a while back the Starforge,
Yeah, the Star Forge.
which is also in Knights of the Old Republic. That thing is badass. I don't know, man, but the whole ship theory, flying at hyperspace into it, that would be like you or me running as fast as we could into a bus coming towards us at 100 miles an hour. I think that's about the same effect we're going to have on it.
Yeah. And then the other one is the Palpatine ship is it called the Dreadnought? It's a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Really, the super big one.
The huge one. Like it's like a city.
Could that destroy the Death Star?
I mean, it could. I think it could do serious damage, but I don't know if it could destroy it. Again, you also have to ask about shields. Like, if the Death Star shields are up, I mean, what kind of shields does it have to take that kind of stuff? You have to understand the Empire built this thing to probably withstand these specific type of situations for people going kamikaze thinking they're going to try to make a dent in it. I mean, if this thing has the ability to literally explode an entire planet in a single shot, I think that I don't know if I just don't know. I mean, I can't. I think there is always a way. There always could be something built. Possibly the rebellion can build some kind of crucible that could literally do the damage against it needs to do. I don't know. I mean,
would it be possible for the rebellion to build anything? Because if I'm a leader of any planet, even somebody who is supportive of the rebellion, and then once they destroy a planet with this Death Star, I'm going to be saying, I'm going to be down on my knees and saying, sorry guys, we're not helping you. Get the heck off our planet.
I mean, it's never been a direction I've gone, but I might have to slow stroke the Emperor just so I can keep my planet alive.
Do a little bit of reach around there.
I mean, it might not be pretty, but I'm alive.
And my people.
Yeah, I was thinking more for myself, but yeah, I guess the people too.
I mean, does the rebellion die?
I think it does. I mean, and one thing, what we can do later on down the road, bro, is we could talk about if Galen Merrick was canon and he was part of that rebellion where they didn't get the Death Star plans. I think we just have a collaboration.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't see much hope in the rebellion. I mean, let's talk about when Obi-Wan was training Luke and he was like, training him with the remote on the Millennium Falcon. I mean, he even felt Alderaan explode. And he's like, he asked Obi-Wan, "Are you all right?" He goes, "It's as if suddenly a million voices cried out in terror and was suddenly silenced." I mean, he goes, "I feel something terrible has happened." And he felt it. I mean, and he didn't really have much of a tie to Alderaan as he did like Tatooine. So right there, that gives you the idea of the destructive power of the Death Star. And like you said, if you're some kind of king on some planet or whatever you want to call the lead sovereign, like governor or whatever, you're gonna bow down to him.
Yeah. And backtracking, the Death Star plans aren't they don't get them. That changes the whole story. First off, Alderaan's probably survives.
Right.
Which planet gets destroyed, as an example?
Well, that's a very, very good point. What would be the point of destroying Alderaan when it was used as a threat levy against Leia? Yeah. So, like, if there's no plans to try to retrieve back, why are you going after Alderaan? They're not a threat now. They have nothing to do with you.
So there would be some other planet that would be more a target, that would be more where they believe the rebellion is, or somebody that supports, like maybe a senator that's kind of anti-empire.
Well, Coruscant is safe. That's the entire planet that's a city because there's no more Jedi Order. Because at that point in time with the Death Star, the Jedi they consisted of Yoda in exile and Obi-Wan on Tatooine, basically watching over Luke. So, I mean, you did have a few stragglers that survived. Quinlan Vos, who was the master to Jedi Aayla Secura, you had him survive. You had a few. I mean, it's even fan theory, or not even fan theory, but theory, that Mace Windu even survived after being thrown from the window after Anakin his arm off. So you would have other Jedi in exile, but what could they really do against this stuff? Especially if they detached from the Force to stay hidden.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then you have the chosen one, Luke Skywalker.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I know Anakin was the chosen one, but
Right.
does Obi-Wan even connect with him and train him? Does he just live out as a farmer his life, or maybe he's talked about joining the Imperial fleet, so he was almost
Right. And I mean, maybe he would have just been a pilot, but a short-lived pilot, because what's the point of I mean, you know as well as I do, Vader probably would have dispatched bounty hunters or probably trained Sith under his own to hunt down remnants of any rebellion and destroy it. And maybe those planets would be targeted. Like Yavin 4 was a big one. They were already on the verge of destroying it, but you had a good point on just destroying the moon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Rick hits a good point, guys. He said, just destroy the moon with the Death Star because that, or was it the planet?
Planet.
Yeah, the planet. That's right. You hit a very good point. Rick's like, just destroy the planet. It explodes. It's going to take the moon out with it. So
that was my first thought when I saw that. I was like, oh, why'd they have to wait to circle that whole planet?
But I don't think they expected smart asses 40-something years later to come pick something apart.
Maybe they valued something on that planet. Maybe they liked it. Maybe there was like some Ewoks down there that they kind of were in love with or something.
Well, and there'll be another theory. How could the Ewoks really help bring down the Empire? Oh my God, it's like Fozzie Bear on crack. But I don't know, you know. And let's talk about Obi-Wan's training with Luke Skywalker. Does it even continue? I mean, he starts him on that path. You know, like I said, he's working against the remote on the Millennium Falcon. And he's like, you know, I could see the remote. And Obi-Wan, that's good. You've taken your first step into a larger world, you know, and this and that. And that's great. But if you think about it, like with no Death Star plan stolen, there's no princess to rescue. What are they doing? You know what I mean? I mean, does he just continue to watch over Luke and make sure Luke's safe? Because that was his whole purpose on Tatooine.
Yeah. And you know what? Obi-Wan, you know, in 19 years, he aged about 50 years. So he must have been having a really good time.
Or rough time. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. I'm thinking on Tatooine, I think that, you know, evolution just has a different existence, you know. I mean, geez, look at Jabba the Hutt. He was probably only 12 years old, and look at him. I mean, I don't know. You're right, though. 19 years, that was brutal, man. Ewan McGregor turned into Alec Guinness overnight, man.
Right.
That's funny. That is actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a sad story. I mean, how many thousands of years would have to go before the rebellion comes back? Because obviously Leia, she's already a target.
Right.
And so she's not going to be in a position to start anything, and nobody's going to help her.
No.
She chose.
I mean, she's probably still in royalty on Alderaan because Bail Organa, the Organas were obviously her adoptive parents, and that's how she got the last name Leia Organa. But really, I mean, does Vader even bother? Because with no Death Star plan stolen, does Vader even bother with his children? Does he ever even meet up with them? I mean, you know, obviously in Empire Strikes Back, no, I am your father, you know, and Luke's like, no, like, Luke was such a pansy though. But that's just my opinion. I was never a Luke Skywalker fan. But, I mean, you have all these different scenarios that don't even play out.
Well, and the bigger question is, obviously the Empire is evil. Is this bad for the Empire? I mean, they'll have to destroy one planet to show the power.
Of course.
But do they stay at just destroying one, and then they could, if there's no rebellion, they don't have to put all that money into.
No.
They could work on infrastructure and they could start building stuff.
I mean, imagine how much more they could expand to other planets. I mean, you have the planet Naboo, beautiful, beautiful planet. Is where Queen Amidala is from, and Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, I believe, lived on Naboo as well. And I mean, imagine the strength of the Empire on something like Naboo, and then Coruscant, the city planet, and then you have these other planets in the Outer Rim that could have been controlled by the Empire. That you had Manan, which was controlled by the Selkath, which is like an aquatic race, and there was Manan as a completely ocean-covered planet in Knights of the Old Republic. But you had Otto City, which was just kind of on the water, but it had millions of residents, and that would have been so powerful too under the influence of the Empire. So I couldn't even imagine. But on the flip side of this, let's be realistic. every great ruling either nation or sovereign or something eventually falls. You see what I'm saying? You know, nothing is forever.
Right.
So what would it take? Would it take the rise of the Jedi?
Well, you talked a lot about balance. I mean, so at what point does, you know, the balance equalize these Sith Lords that get so strong? Because the rule of two was to continue making the Sith stronger and stronger and stronger.
Right. You know, because the Sith planet is called Korriban, and Korriban is extremely, extremely strong in the dark side of the Force. So if the Empire had control of that, that would also be hard to stop. But I told you about one planet that I don't think, if the Empire could not get under control, which they would struggle, that's called Dathomir. And it's the Dathomirian Night Witches that are so strong in the Force. Now you see some of this in the Acolyte, but that's all bullshit. Sorry, Disney. And my thoughts on Disney are very clear. I mean, as a Star Wars guy from a kid to now, it's like watching dog shit. But I'm sorry, and that's just my opinion. But, you know, Dathomir with the Night Witches, they are so strong in the Force, and they're almost like an in-between. They're not necessarily dark, they're not necessarily light, they're like a gray. And that might be, to me, the Empire's biggest struggle, if they can't get that. There's a planet they would probably have to destroy, because that would be a threat. Dathomir could be a major threat to the Empire, and Vader probably would prioritize that. I mean, you don't want the Night Witches on your ass. I mean, hell hath no fury than a woman scorned. I said what I said. But no, it's okay, because, you know, sometimes we push women to that point because we're just not mature enough. But anyway, no, on a realistic note, no, man, you don't fuck with the Night Witches. Plain as day. So I have a feeling the Death Star would wipe that planet out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Because the Empire's shown that they don't have a lot of restraint in dealing with the oppressing people. So, I mean, I by no means earlier I wasn't suggesting that it would be good that the Empire got rid of the rebellion. It's not what I meant.
Right. And by the way, that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned was just a joke. But yeah, I don't know. You have these key characters. I mean, you know, like obviously the Skywalker, you know, Luke Skywalker, you have Leia. I mean, like even like Chewbacca, where does he come in? Where does Han Solo? Does Han Solo even? Is the Rebel Alliance gone before Han Solo even is able to start getting paid to work with them? You know what I mean? I mean, there's just
Jabba probably gets a hold of him in his toes.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. I mean, there probably is no Han Solo story. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's amazing. You had the Federation before the Empire, but then in Revenge of the Sith, once the Jedi were overthrown because he dispatched Anakin to kill the Jedi, including younglings. Once he did that, then that's when he said, he goes, "We will turn this into the first galactic empire." Right then and there, he turned the Confederate into the Galactic Empire, and that was it.
And you know, and going off on all these little tangents, Princess Leia ends up marrying some king and starts popping out little Skywalkers. and they end up rebelling in 1,000 years.
Little snot-nosed Skywalkers that are like, "Oh, Biggs is right. I'm never gonna get out of here." I don't know. It's very interesting just to know. But anyway, I don't know about you, but as we wind this down, I would kind of like to hear the listeners' take on it. Where do you think would happen? Where do you think all the stories would go? What direction would this take if the Rebel Alliance had never stolen the Death Star plans?
Yes, and as always, comment. And if there's things Star Wars, gaming, anything you want us to discuss, we'll look at the comments and we'll make sure to hit on those topics.
Absolutely, and if you don't mind, please give us a subscribe on YouTube. Help us grow, get us into that algorithm. We really appreciate it. It means the world to us. And follow us, on Spotify if you can. But until then, I am Matt.
And I'm Rick.
And thanks for joining us. And I'm Outro.
You too.